Hey there, folks. I'm Fox 10 News meteorologist Matt Barrington. I am in the Fox 10 News Now Weather Center, and we're getting ready to talk to Hal Sherrick, who is out in the field. He's out at where this happened this morning. You see the radar here. This is from 8:15 this morning. This is a pretty good thunderstorm rolling through Brewton up here in Escambia County, and it did do some fairly significant damage up there in Brewton here this morning. I'm going to go ahead and bring in Hal. He is out on Granbury Street, where some significant damage was done. Hal, we got you up now. We can see you. We see you're standing in front of a blue home with multiple trees down, a car back there with a tree on it, and another yellow home with some trees down on it as well. Hal?
That's right, Matt. Actually here just off of Granbury on Lovelace Street in Brewton. This is a little bit south of the hospital, right off of 31. Just to kind of step out of the screen so you can see a little bit better what they're dealing with here. This happened a little after 8 o'clock this morning, as you mentioned. National Weather Service saying that this is a result of strong straight line winds, they believe. Now, to create damage like this, Matt, as you know, I mean, we're talking about winds in the 70-mile-an-hour range or above, have literally snapped huge oak tree branches and limbs off like twigs. They've come down and landed on homes. You can see the chimney and roof structure on the yellow house there has a lot of damage with one of those giant limbs on part of the roof. And then, of course, the car below crushed by one of these limbs. The home itself does have some damage. The blue home does. A little story here. This is the Herbert residence, the blue home. And they told me that I spoke with Caroline Herbert. She was actually at work, but her daughter's fiance was here at home asleep with her grandbaby when this storm came through. The first thing that woke them was panes of glass breaking on the rear of the house. At first, she says her future son-in-law thought it was a burglar, but then realized this was a big storm and immediately had to cover the grandchild, his baby, and try to protect her, which they did. We're not hearing any reports of any injuries, thank goodness. I've talked to a couple families. Another one, the Newton family, just down on Granbury Street. They also had a giant pine tree come down across the carport. The carport did protect it from crushing the car beneath, but the roof has significant damage. We'll, of course, show you some of those images tonight on Fox 10 News and speak with them. They were all at work. This is that time of day this happened. A lot of folks had already left for work, had left their homes, and then this is what they came home to, is what you see behind me. This isn't the only area of town that does have damage. I understand that I'm going to make my way a little bit north of here, Bellevue Avenue, up towards the hospital. There's a couple streets, neighborhood over there that also has some pretty significant damage. I'm going to check that out in just a little bit, but this is on the southern part of town off of 31. Before you get to the hospital, just north of the courthouse and such, where this happened, and off to the, I guess that would be the east side of 31. So, yeah, I mean, these folks here dealt with some very scary and very significant weather this morning as this system blew through. And as you can see, the rain has continued to fall on and off, and expected to have a lot more heavy rain possibly later this afternoon. So the city has already been around picking up some debris as they could to get it off the roads, knowing that they've got more weather coming later today. So folks here are prepared for that, Matt. What does it look like as far as what they may deal with here as the day goes on?
Yeah, Hal, they'll definitely deal with some heavier rain coming up here in just a little while later this afternoon. I'll cut you loose here in just a few minutes, Hal, and let you get back to it, and I'll give a good weather update. First off, though, while you're still out there, I want you to kind of just tell us a little about some of the what you see. I can tell the trees back there. You can sometimes see that they have sometimes they're rotten in the middle, and that sometimes will lead to it as well. This is all from straight line wind damage, 60, 70 mile per hour winds, and that can take down some pretty good sized trees, especially when the ground is soft, like that uprooted one behind you, or when it's rotten in the middle, like it looks like some of those that are back there on that car.
That's right, and what I can do, Matt, is move to behind the camera while I talk to you a little bit and give you a little bit better look. Now, we're talking straight line winds. That's fairly evident. They're very evident as you take a look at where these limbs came from. There's no twisting of the tree itself, and as you mentioned, you do see some darker areas in the middle of some of those limbs. So there could be some rot going on, some weakening of the tree.
Yeah,
but
water oak, they get
no
rotten
twisting.
in the middle,
So
they'll crack.
Yeah, so that does definitely look like, as the National Weather Service has said, we're dealing with some straight line winds. These were just snapped off from those strong winds blowing across here as it moved from west to east. I got some more folks showing up here. But, as I came up, obviously from the Baldwin County area, up Highway 31 through Bay Minette, Atmore, and eventually here into Brewton, it was fairly dry at first and then passed through a pretty significant area of showers. And then dried up again for a little while as I got into Brewton, and we just dealt with a little more rain. So it's just on and off, spotty hit and miss throughout the morning it's been so far. And this is the typical kind of damage I've seen so far here and around the corner. We're just off of Granbury Street, and just down Granbury and the block behind it, there's similar damage, trees down, some roof and structural damage, nothing extremely severe like you would see if a tornado had come through, but certainly severe enough to give these folks here quite a scare this morning. Come all the way around, you can see these power lines down right here behind me where this gentleman's walking under. I guess you can see those.
Yeah.
And so we've got some obstructions in the roads. I mean, folks need to be careful driving around here this morning, that's for sure.
All right, Hal. Once again, it's Hal Sherrick. He is out on the scene in Brewton, where there is some straight line wind damage of some probably 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. Hal, I'm going to let you go. You go ahead and clear on out and let you get back to your work here. And we'll catch up with you later at Fox and News at 4 and 5. Looks like some rain starting to come down there as well. That's not going to make things any fun. So we'll catch up with you later, Hal.
Okay.
All right, so while Hal is finishing up out there, I wanted to go ahead and give you a quick look here at the forecast and what we're expecting the rest of the afternoon, because I was showing you that earlier storm from earlier when it did hit Brewton. And once again, that was straight line wind damage. I mean, that's the kind of thing that can happen with, many thunderstorms. And if it goes right through your neighborhood, you could see significant damage just from like what we saw there with Hal. You can see the limbs, the large limbs from one of those oak trees were ripped off and then thrown down on top of a house and on top of a car. And just looking at them, even from a distance, you could see they're dark brown and black inside those limbs, so most likely had some rot in them. Hal's here now, and he's getting some more rain. So they're getting dumped on right now. Of course, they're trying to get out there and clean up their yards. It's not fun. We have some more storms here off to the west of us. These will eventually work their way towards us, so we're going to be talking about that. We're still under a slight risk of severe weather through the rest of the afternoon. I think the biggest threat is going to be more straight line winds, gusty winds with these storms here later on. We are still under a flash flood watch for it, just in case we get some heavier rains. It doesn't look like it's going to be as much of an issue, but if we get a few stronger storms, getting heavy enough rain, certainly could cause some issues out on the roads. I'm not thinking we're going to have any major flooding problems, but when you get enough water on the roads, that causes its own sort of problems. I'll go ahead and a couple of the other areas. There's South Georgia getting some heavy rain. This is the area I want to focus on, though. Over in parts of Louisiana now, crossing over the Mississippi River, a lot of storms here. All this will work its way towards us later this afternoon. I'll show you the future cast in a second. First off, here's a current look at the radar here just after 12:30. And we're looking at light rain. It's just kind of yucky outside. I got a good window over here, and just everything's gray and damp. And, even if it's not actively raining where you're at, it's wet. It's going to be that way for the rest of the afternoon. And then we're waiting on this part of it. So the front's over here. Right over here in East Texas, and all this is going to work its way towards us as we go through the rest of the day. So let's see how that looks on the future cast. So through the rest of this early part of the afternoon, doesn't look too bad. Then here we are, showing a few little storms bubbling up. And that's just what we're going to have to watch out for. They'll be very isolated in nature. If we get any stronger storms, they'll kind of bubble up. We'll watch these through the rest of the afternoon. Here's 4 o'clock, so here's folks getting ready to start driving on home. Things look pretty wet at that point. And it continues to look that way through about 6. But once again, I don't see a whole lot of big storms bubbling up in all this in the high-resolution imagery. So we'll keep an eye on things for you. It's likely to be more of a rain event than anything else from this point on, but we'll definitely be keeping a good close eye on it for you throughout the afternoon. Myself, Matt Barentine, meteorologist Jennifer Lambers is here. Of course, we have Chief Meteorologist Jason Smith. He'll be around as well, 4 and 5 o'clock. We're going to be tracking this storm system all the way through. Once again, not anticipating any major problems, but certainly out in the roads, we could see some issues there. And we'll have to watch out for a couple of isolated storms trying to bubble up and get a little stronger. So those are the main things we'll be keeping an eye on for you through the rest of this afternoon. So we'll keep an eye on all that for you. I hope you have yourselves a great day. Thank you so much for joining us here on Fox 10 News Now. We'll continue to update things throughout the day. You can see there's the future cast going into tomorrow morning, so we'll still be dealing with some rain tomorrow as well. And keeping an eye on how much rain it's going to be. Most of the models have us with around an inch and a half, so that won't cause any major issues if that works out to be the case. Here's how the outlook looks for the next few days. So we get rid of this rain tomorrow morning. Things will be really looking up as we head towards the end of the week and on into the weekend. We'll catch you tonight on Fox 10 News at 4 and 5 p.m.